Hello, and welcome to West Hill High School for North Star Playmakers' rendition of 12 Angry Jurors. Before we begin, there are a few housekeeping issues to address. First, if you need to use the restroom, they are located in the lobby. Second, in the event of an emergency, there are exits located in the front and rear of the auditorium. Tonight's performance will have a 15-minute intermission, during which time concessions will be on sale in the lobby. And now for today's performance. This powerful play explores themes of justice, prejudice, and the weight of decision-making as 12 jurors deliberate a life or death case. As you watch tonight's performance, we invite you to reflect on the challenges of making decisions based on limited information, the influence of personal biases, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Now, without further ado, join us as we take you into the tense and dramatic world of 12 Angry Jurors.
Murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you.
The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance.
Gum? Gum? Anyone want any gum?
Thank you, but no.
You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in advertising.
You know what was hot?
I never would have known that if you hadn't told me. Oh, would you?
I suppose not. I kind of forgot.
All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you weren't sweating that kid was dry.
I think they at least air conditioned the place. I almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
This should go by quick anyway.
Yes, it is hot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's here. If you need anything, just knock.
Did she just lock the door?
Yes, she did.
Who does she think we are, crooks?
Well, they lock us up for a little while.
And then they lock up that kid forever, and that's alright by me.
I never knew they did that.
Sure, they locked the door. What did you think?
I don't know, it just never occurred to me.
Shall we all admit right now that it is hot and humid and our tempers are short?
It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job could be gone. In the whole company, too. They aren't going to like this.
Well, figure this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Ask her to hire you. She looks rich. Look at that dress.
Is it custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
How does he do?
Not too well, you know. A friend of his that's a friend of my uncle. Well, this friend wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Well, why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
And get a car or something? You know what kind of fine you could pay for anything like that? Anyway, this friend was on a jury once. A case just about like this one.
So what happened?
They let him off reasonable doubt. And did you know 8 years later they found out that he'd done it anyway? A guilty man, a murderer, was turning loose down the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy unless it's a hung jury. They can't try a man twice for the same crime.
Well, that isn't gonna happen here, now is it?
6 days. They should have done it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. I heard so much talk about nothing.
Well, I guess they are entitled.
That's the system. Everyone gets a fair trial. Guess there isn't anything you'd say about it.
Hey, how'd you like that business about the knife?
Well, look, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, he bought a switch knife that night.
And then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
An awful way to kill your father. A knife in the chest.
Look at the kind of people they are. You know them.
What's the matter? You got a cold?
A Lulu, those hot summer colds can kill you.
Yeah, I had one while I was on vacation. Sucked. I know the feeling, man.
I think we should get started now.
Yeah.
Well, this better go by quick. I got tickets to the Yankees game after this. Feels like I'm the only one who hasn't gone this season.
How about sitting down? Gentleman at the window, how about sitting down?
I'm sorry. It's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father, bing, just like that. Well, it's the element. They let the kids run wild. Maybe serves them right.
There are better proofs than some emotion you may have. Perhaps a dislike for some group.
Well, we all agreed it was hot now.
And that our tempers would get short.
Well, this case is open shut. Let's get it done.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Has everyone agreed? Alright, well, I'm not going to make any rules. We could discuss first, then vote, or we could vote right now and see how we stand.
Well, let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we could all just go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Alright, is everyone agreed?
Yeah.
Alright, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. Not guilty?
Come on!
Hey, you're in the field!
The vote is 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, the guy doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is ABC.
Well, I don't believe this is as simple as ABC.
I've never seen a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say that he's guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. He's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Well,
I'd really like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
Well, he's 19 years old.
that's old enough. He stabbed his father 4 inches into the chest, an innocent little 19-year-old.
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
All right. They proved it a dozen times in court. Want me to list them?
No.
I don't mind telling you this, mister. We gave that kid a fair trial, didn't we? Do we know how much that trial cost? Look, he should be lucky he got it. We're all adults here. You're not going to tell us how to feel knowing what he is. I've lived among them my entire life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a man to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right, it's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
But this man says it's very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to be able to behave like ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss this case, why, let's discuss the facts.
That's a good point. We have a job to do, so let's do it.
If you ladies and gentlemen don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to have the window open.
But it was blowing on me.
There are 11 of us in this room. It's only one window. Surely you can just have it closed.
I have some rights too.
Well, so do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs with someone at the other end of the table?
All right, you can open the window if somebody would trade.
All right, fine. You can take my chair.
Thank you.
No
Shall
problem.
we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's continue.
I might have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to all of us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. Maybe if we should talk for a minute or two, try it on for size.
That sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Suppose we go once around the table. We'll start with you.
Wait, me? Well, I think the guy's guilty. I thought it was pretty obvious.
Well, in what way was it obvious?
No one proved otherwise.
Well, nobody has to prove otherwise. It's innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. And now that's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Well, sure, I've heard of it. And well, I think the guy's guilty.
You got no reasons. It's just guilty. There's a life at stake here.
All right, let's get to the facts. First, let's talk about the old man who lives on the second floor underneath the apartment where the murder took place. At 10 after 12, he said he heard loud noises. Said it sounded like a fire. Then he heard the boy yell to his father, "I'm gonna kill you." Then heard the body fall and ran towards the door of the apartment and saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. He called the police after, and they found the father stabbed in the chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right, so what else do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
Right. Hear that? You're absolutely right.
And he didn't have any ticket stub.
Well, who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
That's true enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't even remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Look, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove it, then nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Just a minute, please. Here's a woman lying in bed and she can't sleep. It's hot, Anyway, she goes up to the window and she looks out across the street and she sees the boy stick the knife into his father.
Well, how could she really be sure it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevator train?
She'd known the kid all his life. His window was directly opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
And they proved in court that you can see through the windows of a moving elevator train at night and see through the other side. They proved it.
Well, weren't you telling us just a minute or two ago that you can't trust them? You can't believe them?
So?
Let me ask you something. Why did you believe her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
Well, you're a smart fellow, aren't you?
Let's calm down now.
All right, sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, they did take us out to the woman's room, and we looked through the windows of a passing L train, didn't we?
That's right, we did.
And weren't you able to see what happened on the other side?
Well, I didn't see as well as they told me I could see, but I did see what happened on the other side.
You see? Do you see?
How about you?
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. What about you?
Oh, I don't know. I started to be convinced, with the testimony from the people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy around 7 o'clock that night? I mean, I can be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right.
Well, what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Look, I'll be honest. I think we're just wasting our time here. Let's just go home, guys.
Well, I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Well, let's look at the kid's record. First of all, he's been arrested for mugging. He stole a car. I even think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm.
They did.
He was picked up in knife fighting at 15. He was in reform school.
Yeah, and he was sent to reform school for stabbing somebody.
Look, this is a very fine boy, guys.
Well, ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
Can you blame him? So would I. A kid like that.
Yeah, you're right. It's the kids, they don't listen. I had a kid who was 8 years old. He ran away from a fight. When I saw him, I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or bust you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15, he punched me in the face. Haven't seen him for 3 years. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and...
Calm down.
Alright. Let's get on with it.
Well, we're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We are not here to go into the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it, so do you. The children who come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe, just maybe, it still smells on me.
Now, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Alright, lady, calm down. She didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Well, who did she mean?
I can understand the sensitivity.
Let's stop the bickering.
We're wasting time.
What about you?
All right. Now, I've had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt the defense counsel never conducted a thorough enough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kid, still, I agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So?
Well, this is a point.
What about the fact?
Well, so many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that itty-bitty switch knife. The one that the kid admitted on buying?
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again, Madam Foreman. Please.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again.
The gentleman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
All right, by me.
This knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
Now, let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
We all agree that it's quite an unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Why did the boy get it?
It's a present for his friend, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet she's right. Now I want you to listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, that he never saw it again. Now there's a story, ladies and gentlemen. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me someone picked it up off the street and went up to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that it's possible the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
Well, I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying that it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
What?
Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Who do you think you are?
Look at it. It's the same knife.
Quiet. Let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got it at a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost me $2.
Hey, now wait a minute.
All right, I'm waiting.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing.
You proved absolutely nothing, but you made a pretty surprising exhibit over here. But hey, what if there was like 10 nights like it? So what?
Well, maybe there are.
The boy's guilty, and you know it.
God, maybe he's not guilty. You know, maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe he did lose the knife. Maybe he did go to the movies. And maybe the reason that no one saw him was because he sneaked into the movies. Now, is there anyone here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were a kid?
I didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Oh.
So maybe the kid lied, maybe he didn't. Do you think he lied?
Do I think he lied? Now that's a dumb question. Sure, he lied.
All right. And you, do you think he lied?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Hey, wait. What do you think you're doing here, buddy? Look. There are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. You want to be stubborn and hang this jury? The kid will be tried again sure as he's born.
Yeah, you're probably right.
What? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A boy may die.
Come on now. Doesn't matter. Don't touch me.
Yes, that's right.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Yeah, let's continue.
Well, you obviously don't think the boy is guilty.
I got a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. There's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kid shriek it out.
And the woman that caused the L track, she saw it.
No, he bought a switch knife that night. We don't really know where he was, guys. At the movies, come on.
Later that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way, and while that doesn't prove anything...
Still, you know...
I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 people to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. I'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
All right, another vote is called for. Is everyone agreed?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Let's roll it.
Perhaps this is best.
Thought he never give up. Took it forever. I needed to go home.
Okay. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please, 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
You changed your vote. I want to know. Ooh.
Now, which one of you idiots changed your vote?
All right, is that the way to talk about a man's life?
What are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know. Who changed your vote? Speak
So
up.
do I.
Please, this was a secret ballot.
Nobody looked why we did it, but I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on this. If the person wants to remain a secret.
What do you mean secrets? There are no secrets here. I know who did it. What's the matter with you? You come in here and vote guilty and some slick preacher tears your heart out about some kid who couldn't help becoming a murderer, so you change your vote. If that isn't about
Now hold it!
I agree with you that the man is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it, be fair. That's just what I'm saying. I'm trying to put a man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're listening to fairy tales.
Now just a minute.
Now you listen to me. Let me explain to you why this kid's a murderer. Now back off.
Don't touch him. Let him explain.
Go on.
Now look, we made some fair points earlier before here, and I'm pretty sure right now that we've continued to prove more and more that this kid is guilty.
Hey, could I just say something? Let's stick to the topic. Why did you change your vote? I'm sorry.
She didn't change her vote. I did.
What?
I was going to tell you guys, but you were so sure of yourselves. Maybe you'd like to know why.
Sure. Yes.
Go on.
This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. It's a very brave thing to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us. He gambled for support, and I gave it to him. The vote is 10-2.
All right, if your speech is over, we can go on now.
Oh, thank you.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
You know, I just don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as you get. I mean, that's a kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out. But he'll come around. He's got to. And fundamentally, he's a very reasonable man.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
They haven't come up with one real fact yet to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know?
Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a life's at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone would start knifing people.
Well, not much doubt here.
Two people think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
Have you heard of those stories about people who go to jail, sometimes get executed, and then years later things turn up?
And on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and kill again.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Hey, buddy. Now that we kind of cooled off a little bit, and I was a little excited a minute ago. Didn't mean to get nasty. You know how it is. Nothing personal.
Okay.
Hey, tell me this. Look, if the kid didn't kill him, who did?
Well, as far as I know, we're supposed to be deciding whether or not the kid on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives.
Suppose, but who else had a motive?
The kid's father was long in years. Maybe it's just an old grudge.
Remember,
Fantastic.
it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It's an important thing to remember.
Alright, so everyone's a lawyer. Explaining that what your reasonable doubts are.
It's just a feeling I have. A feeling perhaps you don't understand.
No, I do not.
A feeling? What are we to do all night? Talk about our feelings? What about the facts?
Look, you said a mouthful back there. The old man heard the boy yell, "I'm gonna kill you," to his father. Second later, heard the body fall, and then saw the kid running down out of the house 15 seconds after that.
That's right. And let's not forget the woman across the street. He looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. He saw it.
Now, what do you say about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing that you think over it. Hold on, lend me your pencil. Play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time.
This isn't a game.
Hey, now wait a minute!
It's a man's life.
Who do you think you are?
Now please, I don't want any fights in here.
You see him? The nerd, the absolute nerd!
Come on, I don't mean anything. Let's go.
How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. You are.
How about a new topic? The L train? What about it?
Right. The L train.
So,
Let's see. Well, how long does it take an L train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what does that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it. About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe?
Sounds like a fair guess. Does anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
If I were to guess, I would also say 10 seconds.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds. Now that given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You were almost able to reach out of that window, touch the L, right?
That's right. I tried it.
So?
Has anyone here ever lived next to the L tracks?
I've lived close to them.
I live right by the L tracks. They make a lot of noise, right?
Yeah.
When your window's open and that train goes by, the noise is unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get to the point.
The old man who lived downstairs, he heard the boy say, "I'm gonna
He
kill
didn't
you."
say it, he screamed it.
He heard the boy scream, "I'm gonna kill you." And then 1 second later, he heard a body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
All right. Now, the woman across the street, she testified that she looked out her window and saw the boy stab his father through the last 2 cars of the L train, right?
Mm-hmm. So?
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
Okay, what are you giving us here?
An L train passes a given point in 10 seconds, or 2 seconds per car. That means that L train had to have been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more, before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man couldn't have possibly heard the boy scream, "I'm gonna kill you," or hear a body fall with the front of the L roaring past his nose. He couldn't have heard it.
What do you mean, sure he could have heard it?
With an L train going by,
He said the boy yelled out.
an L train makes a lot of noise.
Well, it's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
I mean, sure, maybe the old man didn't hear it.
What do you
know,
mean?
it's all the
Are you calling
elbows.
me a liar?
Well, stands to reason.
Why would the old man lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe?
You keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send it to the newspaper? They paid $2.
It's too much, man. Just let her talk.
Thank you. It's just, I stared at him for a very, very long time. The seam under his jacket was split. Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
This old man carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone else here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant old man who is not known after 75 years. This is very sad. A person like this needs to be recognized, quoted, listened to, just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important?
No, it's not that he would really lie, but he would make himself he believed he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Well, isn't that the most fantastic story I ever heard? How could you make up a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
Well, you must be. People don't just lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he was telling the truth.
And what do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What are you?
I'm the same person.
What are you talking about, lady?
Won't you?
I think we all understand now. Thank you.
Look, if you're calling yourself a liar and admitting that, then it's alright by me.
Now that is too much.
What? She just told us so. She's a liar.
She didn't say she was a liar. She was explaining.
Excuse me. Did you not just admit that you were a liar?
All right, come on. She didn't say she was a liar. She was explaining the circumstances so we could understand why the old man might have lied. There's a difference.
A liar's a liar, and that's all there's ears to it.
Please, have some compassion.
All right, is there anything else?
Do you want a cough drop?
No, thank you.
Anyone else want a cough drop? Best candy ever.
I'll take a cough drop.
I think we should get started.
Hold on 1 second. The man wants a cough drop. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
All right, now, I think we proved the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you."
I disagree.
Let's hear him through anyway.
However, I think the old man, even if he did hear him, well, that doesn't mean anything. This phrase, "I'm gonna kill you," how many times has each of us said it? Probably hundreds. Now, if you do that once more, Junior, I'm gonna murder you. Oh, come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day, and we don't really mean that we're gonna murder someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more. The phrase, "I'm gonna kill you," and the boy yelling at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Now don't tell me that he didn't mean it. Anybody that says it the way he says it, means it.
And how they mean it?
Well, do you really think that kid would yell out a thing like that for the whole neighborhood to hear? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
The boy is clever enough.
I would like to change my vote to not guilty.
Really?
Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I would like to know why you changed your vote.
I believe there's a doubt.
Where? Where's the doubt?
There's the knife.
Fine.
Go on, give us the reasons.
The old man, too. Maybe the old man didn't lie, or just maybe he did. Maybe the old man doesn't even like the kid.
But that isn't the end, guys.
I believe there's a reasonable doubt.
What are you basing off of? Stories that this guy made up? You have to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. This guy would make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't the lawyer bring up any of these excellent points?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, brother, you come here and sit here listening to stories, and now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't see the kid run down the stairs 15 seconds after the killing. He said he ran down the hallway. He saw it. He confessed to it on the stand. God. Only so he could be important? Did I get that right?
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He said he got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could have ran to the door.
He said he went. I remember it now. He went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again? Does anyone remember where the bedroom was?
Down the hall somewhere?
Down the hall. Are we to send a boy off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment, please.
Look, why don't we have them run the entire trial over again? Get everything straight for you.
Do you know where the bedroom was? Please, a life is at stake. Do you know?
Yeah, it was,
You know, Madam Foreman.
I heard you.
Alright. Now what's this one for?
had it.
How come you're the only person wanting to see all these exhibits all the time?
Yeah, I want to see this one too.
I do too.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No, we're gonna find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes can get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
No, he said 15.
It's 15 seconds. How could you judge that kind of thing?
I don't know.
He was positive about 15 seconds.
He's an old man. You saw that. Half of the time he was confused. How could he be sure about anything? Well, you know.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know. Oh, there we are.
There it is.
Do me a favor. Wake me up when this is over.
Is this what you wanted?
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Sure, it's my job.
You want this?
Yes, please. All right.
Here we go.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. Now, this is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment was directly beneath it and exactly the same. There are the L tracks. Here's the bedroom, living room, bathroom, kitchen. Here's a bedroom door. Here's the hall. This is the front door of the apartment, and these are the steps. Now, the old man was lying in bed in this room. He says he got up, went to his bedroom door, went out into the hall, walked down the hall, opened his front door, all in time to see the boy running down the stairs. Right?
That's the story.
That's what happened.
Now, his bed was out the window, and it's about 12 feet from his bed to his bedroom door. Length of the hall is 43 feet. The old man had to get up out of bed, grab his canes, walk 12 feet, open his bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door. In 15 seconds. All in 15 seconds. Do you think this possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
The old man could only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness chair.
You make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man with 2 canes, it's a long walk.
Hey, so what do you think you're doing?
I want to try this thing. I'll pace out 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
Can't recreate a thing like that.
Hand me that chair, please. All right. Thank you. This is the bedroom door. Now, how far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I'd say it was 20 feet.
I agree.
All right. 20 feet's close enough. So from here to the door and back, that's about 40 feet. Less than the length of the hall the old man had to walk through. Right?
A few feet, maybe.
This is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop him.
Well, it's a ridiculous waste of time.
We might as well let him do it.
Can't see any harm in it. Foolish, but go ahead.
According to you, this should only take 15 seconds. We can spare that, right? Now, does anyone here have a watch with a second hand?
I do.
Okay. Stamp your foot when you want me to start. Now, that'll be the body falling.
All right, I'll time you.
Let's say the old man kept his canes by his bedside, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right, just waiting for the second hand to get to 60. There.
Speed it up. He walked twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom.
No, it isn't.
If you want me to go faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
All right, stop.
You're gonna love this result. How about 39 seconds?
This can't be.
39 seconds?
Would you look at that? That's interesting.
Doesn't make sense.
39 seconds?
And the old cripple swore on his oath that it was 15.
He may have been a bit off at the speed which the old cripple moved at, but 24 seconds off? I mean...
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, even allowing quite a difference in the speed between you and the old man. There still seems there's quite a
discrepancy.
Now, it's my thought. The old man was going down the hall, heard someone running down the stairs, and he assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assume? What do you mean assume? Look, I heard all kinds of dishonesty over my years, but this display takes a cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell them! You come in here talking about some slut case and dishonesty and injustice, and you got all these soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm just about done with it. What's the matter with you people? The boy's guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip our fingers.
Our fingers? Man, are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this, well, you bet I can swing.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the fact. You are a beast. You disgust me.
Whoa! Yeah, what? Get off me! I'll kill you! I'll kill you! Get off!
Now, you didn't really mean you were going to kill me, did you?
Gentlemen, I heard some noise.
Yes, everything is all right. We're finished. You could take that back.
Just what are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is the remarkable thing about democracy, that we are, what is the word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down here and decide on the guilt or innocence of a man who we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose from our verdict. This is what makes us strong. We should not make it personal.
Thank you.
Why do you thank me?
It's nice to be reminded.
I'm glad that we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we're still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere. We're getting there, maybe.
Maybe.
Who's got an idea?
I think we should try another vote. Madam Foreman?
That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed?
Let's vote.
Yes, vote. All right.
I want an open ballot. Let's call our votes. I want to see who stands where.
All right. Does anyone object? Okay. I vote guilty. 2,
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5, not guilty. 6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right in this very room.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm about ready to walk right into court and declare a hung jury. There's no point of this going on anymore!
I'd like to know why you changed your vote, and why you changed your vote, and why you did. There are 6 people here who think that we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotion won't do. Why?
It would seem that the old man did not see the boy run downstairs. I don't think it likely that the old man would have heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream. And if the boy did scream that he was going to kill, then we have the authority of this man to prove that it might not really mean that he's going to kill.
What about you?
What's
Why
that?
did you change your vote?
All right, well, here's why. You see, he seems so sure, while this guy just gets mad and insults everyone.
How about we do another vote on whether or not we're a hung jury?
That sounds fair, but the vote is 6 to 6. I don't even think we could decide on anything.
Well, it's got to be unanimous, and we're never going to convince this guy.
And at the start, I was alone. But now, there are 5 who agree with me.
But look at us. We're a hung jury right now. It's perfectly balanced. 6 for 6.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
Maybe we could just vote.
Yep.
I think that's a good option.
Let's just vote.
What do you mean vote? Vote on what?
Again.
I'm sorry, vote on what?
If we are or aren't a hung jury.
So we vote either yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we're not a hung jury.
Sounds good to me.
Right. Let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
If 7 or more of us vote yes that we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and tell him that we're a hung jury.
Right, and if 7 or more vote no, then we aren't a hung jury and we go on discussing it.
Doesn't seem quite right.
What's our only solution?
Anything to end this.
Let's call our votes.
All right, is everyone agreed? 7 or more vote yes, then we are a hung jury and take it into the judge. All right, I vote that we're a hung jury. 2,
I say we're not.
3,
We're a hung jury.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No.
7,
Yes.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes!
11,
No.
12.
Yes.
Oh!
Seriously?
The vote is 6 to 6.
We can't even get a majority to decide if we're a hung jury or not.
I went along with the majority vote on this question, and I didn't agree with voting that way. Not really, and I still don't. So I'm changing my vote. I say no, we are not a hung jury. I believe the boy is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. There are some things I want to find out from those people that change their minds.
Okay, great. We aren't a hung jury anymore, so we go on.
Good. We go on.
Well, riding off of what you had said before, does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the kid? I mean, he did do it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose because one of the jurors gets angry when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
I guess that is true.
There is a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So the L train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves. So the old man could have heard a scream which is high-pitched, and it is a tenement, and they have thin walls.
Good. That's it.
And what if the old man downstairs was wrong about the time, but right about whom he saw? Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints on the knife, and it is summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
Now I want you guys to listen to this woman. She got the goods.
And it might have taken a few seconds to get a handkerchief out and wipe the fingerprints away.
This is a point.
Yeah.
I was just trying this one to see.
Just what are we timing?
Yes, let's be exact, please.
I'm saying that the old man downstairs may have been wrong about how long it took him to get to the door, but right about whom he saw running down the stairs. Now, the murderer might have taken 39 seconds to wipe all the fingerprints away and get down the stairs to the place where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
This is right.
I think a murderer can use up 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily if we take in all the other factors.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door. We timed that, so now let's reconstruct the actual time.
Let's reconstruct the killer.
Reconstruct it the best we can.
Here. You do stop.
No, I'll do it.
Alright. Why don't you be the one that gets stabbed? You're younger than I am. And don't forget, you take 1 second to fall.
Yeah.
And he was found on his side, his right side. So fall and roll onto your right side. If someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think it's reasonable to suppose that the murderer would look at his victim for a second or two?
Divorce yourself in this particular case. Just human nature.
Yes, it seems reasonable.
Wait a minute. He fell on his right side, the father. Stabbing somebody isn't like shooting them, even if it's in the heart. He would have worked around a little bit on the floor, writing something, maybe.
That's also quite possible. There would have been enough oxygen in his system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds, I should think.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the boy covered his mouth.
Yeah, that too seems reasonable.
Also, there's another point we might bring out. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe the fingerprints away after murdering someone, well, that person is also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, to see if there are any other clues. It would just be for a second or two, but still, he would look around.
Right. About this on the fingerprints. The boy must have wiped the fingerprints off the knife, but what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and wiping the doorknob with the handkerchief as he came in, it would give me an uneasy feeling. So the handkerchief must have been wiped with the doorknob and the knife, which too would take some time.
You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one, too?
Sure.
Stamp your foot when you want me to start.
All right, swing for the ante against the 60.
I'm gonna kill you! And the boy would have wiped both knobs, which takes time. Stop!
Let's see, I'd say about 29 and a half seconds.
And whoever did murder the man, and I think it was a kid, still would have to run down the hall and down the stairs. At least one flight of stairs.
So now both time sequences check. The one we did and the one you did. What with running downstairs and everything, does pretty much check out on times.
Yeah, I'm sure the old man feels the same way that all of us do. How life's at stake here.
So the story of the old man may well be true.
Well, except for the fact that he absolutely swore that it was 15 seconds.
He's very positive about it.
Well, you're now admitting the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit this does tend to confirm the story of the old man. However, he is now, in part, a proven liar, and this is by your own admission.
The old man may lie half the time and tell the truth the other half, but I think I'm convinced. I think he's guilty.
And what about you? What do you think?
Over here. But, I'm not sure what I think now. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty, then I changed my mind. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
And about you?
No, I'm in real doubt now. Real doubt.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now things are starting to make sense around here.
The vote is 9 guilty, 3 not guilty.
Well, all right. One more thing about the old man. How many of you live in apartments? Just raise your hands.
I don't know what you're thinking of, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close and very dimly lit. The light bulbs are so small. And this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officer, they used big bulbs. One even had a flashlight. Remember that?
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds, on this we all agree. This old man looked down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognized a running figure.
Well, he was 100% wrong about the time. On this, we all agree.
Then could he not also be 100% wrong about who he saw?
That's the most idiotic thing I ever heard of. You must be making it up out of thin air.
We're a hung jury. Let's be honest about it.
Do you really feel there's still no room for reasonable doubt?
Yeah, there's no room for reasonable doubt.
Excuse me, perhaps you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't understand the term reasonable doubt? How dare you accuse me like that? Look at this guy. He comes in here running for his life. Before he can even take a big breath, he's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of him!
No one here is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learned something we don't know. We're not perfect.
Please, it's all right. I'm used to this. Thank you.
You know what? No, it's not all right.
All right, I'm sorry. Is that what all you wanted to hear? You happy now?
That's what I wanted.
All right, who has something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me a little bit about the stab in his young ankle, but you guys know what I'm talking about?
Don't tell me I'm about to start this one up again. They already went over it in court.
I know, genius, but I don't buy it. See, the boy is 5'8", roughly. Father, if I remember correctly, 6'2", right? 6'2", which would be a difference of 6 inches. It would be very awkward for someone to stab down into the chest of someone who was half a little taller than them.
Look, if you're not satisfied, then let's demonstrate it. Again. Somebody get up. All right, I want you guys to look at this. I don't want you to have to do it again. Is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Then let it be more.
Look out! Oh, God. That is not funny.
What's the matter with you?
All right, nobody's hurt, are they?
No, no one's hurt.
All right. Now look at this. This is your ankle, down and in. That's how I would stab a man taller than I am in the chest. Take a look at this and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Did you ever stab a man?
Well, of course not.
How about you? Did you ever stab someone?
Let's not be silly.
Well, did you?
No.
All right, then where do you get all your information about how it's done?
Was obvious. Common sense.
Let me ask you all something. The kid was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for it, right?
That's right.
Correct. Take a look at this. Doesn't that seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
Wait a minute. What's wrong with me? Give me that knife.
Well, did you ever see a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
Oh, well, was it in the movies?
No, in my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood which I lived in. It's funny that I didn't mention that before. I guess you just try to forget those things over time. Anyone who had any experience with switch knives would have never stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You handle it underhand.
Well, then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not if the kid had any experience with switch knives, and we know that this kid had a lot of experience with switch knives.
Well, I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Well, what do you think?
Well,
I don't know.
Right? Now, how about you?
Come on, I think we're wasting our time. Let's just go home.
Well,
Tired of this.
before we decide anything further, I'd like to try and pull this all together.
This should be good.
He has a right. Let him go ahead.
You want me to time this one too?
Nice
Let's
one.
hear him. I'm in advertising. I'm used to the big shots pulling things together. Let's chip up a few shots and see if it land on the green.
Okay. I want you all thinking about this logically and consistently.
We have guilty.
I want to know, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
This is a kid who's gone to reform school for knifing someone. On the night of the murder, he went out and he bought a knife. He bought a switch knife. It would then take a very dumb man to go and murder someone, his own father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
Well, I agree. It's pretty dumb.
However, if he were dumb, then why did he make the move that an inexperienced man would make?
I'm not sure I understand.
Listen, to murder someone must take a great emotion, great hatred, and at that moment, he would handle the knife as best he could. And any trained knife fighter would handle the knife the way they had been trained, underhand. Now, an amateur, he would go and he would handle the knife overhand. But this kid, he's being very smart. See, we all know that he's an experienced knife fighter. So at that moment, he makes a kind of wound that a less experienced man would make with a knife. He's smart enough to wipe fingerprints away. Maybe even smart enough to wait until an L train was going by to cover the noise. So is he smart or is he dumb?
the old lady across from the L tracks. She saw the murder through the last two cars of the L train. Conceivably, someone on the L train could have seen the murder.
Well, that's a possibility, but as far as we know, no one did.
It would take an awfully dumb man to commit a murder as an L train's going by.
Exactly. A dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. Now, probably he heard nothing. Probably didn't even hear the L train going by. And whoever did murder his father, well, he did it as best he could.
So?
This is a kid who's dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with a switch knife. A switch knife murder. And then, the moment of the murder, he becomes smart. Kid's smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect an amateur. However, a second later, he's dumb enough to do the killing as an L train's going by. To make this boy guilty, you have to say he's smart or dumb from about 8 o'clock until about midnight. Then about midnight, he's smart. Then, a second later, he becomes dumb. And then again, he becomes smart enough to wipe fingerprints away. And then, again, he becomes stupid. This time, he's so stupid that he doesn't think of a good alibi. Is he smart or is he dumb? To say that he's guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like it's a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt.
I hadn't thought of that.
And the old man, does he lie half the time and tell the truth the other half the time?
Exactly. To make this boy guilty, he has to be dumb, smart, and so on and so forth. And also, for this kid to be guilty, the old man must lie half of the time and tell the truth the other half of the time. you can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold. Reasonable doubt.
I also think that there is a reasonable doubt.
Me too. I wanted more thought, and now I've had it.
All right. I want another vote.
All right, another vote is called for. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. Okay, guilty. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? Look, you know how these people lie. I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't even need a real reason to kill anybody either. They get drunk and bang, somebody's lying in the gutter. That's how they are. Violent! Human life don't mean as much to them as it means to us. Hey, where are you going? I'm trying to tell you something. Look, these people are drinking and fighting, and if somebody gets killed, somebody gets killed. Nobody cares. Oh, sure, some of them are okay. I'm the first to admit that. But they're the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. Hey, where are you going? I'm trying to tell you something.
Leave me alone.
They're no good. There's not one of them who's
I've had enough of you. If you open your mouth again, I'm going to split your
I'm just
skull.
trying to say.
No. All right, sit down, everybody.
I got it.
I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who claimed she actually saw the murder committed.
Right. That's the most important testimony.
All right, let's go over it. What did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said that she went to bed at about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the open window, and she could look out of the window while lying down and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, she turned toward the window at about 12:10, and as she looked out, she saw the boy stab his father. As far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole case.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how you can vote for acquittal. What do you think about it?
Well, maybe. There's just so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean, maybe? She's right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling. I don't deny the validity of the points that he has made. Shall we say that on one side of the track there is doubt? But what can you say about the story of the woman across the street? She saw it.
I can't read this. What time is it?
10 minutes of 6.
Thank you.
You don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish this in the morning, do you? I've got a kid with mumps.
Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Ah, all right.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Oh, yes, they are.
What do you do when it's the middle of the night and you want to check the time?
I put my glasses on and I look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. My father gave it to me when we married my husband and I. It was 10 years before we had a place to put it.
Well, don't you wear your glasses to bed?
No one wears their glasses to bed.
The woman on the stand wears glasses.
Did she wear glasses?
Of course, the women wore bifocals. I remember this very clearly. They looked quite strong.
Yes, bifocals. She never took them off.
Funny, I never thought of that.
Now listen, I think it's reasonable to assume that the woman wouldn't have worn glasses to bed, and that she wouldn't put them on to glance casually out the window. Now, maybe she really did think that she saw the boy stab his father. However, without her wearing the glasses, I don't think she saw anything. I think she saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Is there anyone here who still does not have a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder, but there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
No, I'm convinced now. There's a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
The vote is 11 not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care if I'm alone. I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
I told you I think he's guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments?
I gave you my arguments.
Well, you can give them again. We have time.
Look, you're the one that made all the points. A guilty man, a murderer is gonna be loose on the street. You can't turn back now. You gotta stay with me.
I'm sorry, I'm convinced. I don't think I'm wrong often, but I guess I was this once. There's a reasonable doubt.
We're waiting.
You're not going to intimidate me! I'm telling you my own opinion! It's gonna be a hung jury and that's it!
Well, there's nothing we can do about that, except for hope. Some night, maybe in a few months, why, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If it is a hung jury, then there will be another trial, and some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers.
All right.
They're waiting. Not guilty.
What say you, members of the jury?
Not guilty.